Hi, welcome to Foppy's Creations, and welcome to anybody who's new, who's managed to find me on YouTube. Today I'm just quickly going to show you the quilt I said I was making for my youngest granddaughter from her old baby clothes. Not really old, she's only a year old, so it's not that old, but you know what I mean, the baby clothes that she's grown out of. So I've made a start on it, so I'm going to show you what I've done so far. And then I'll quickly film you bits for me adding the bits to it that I was going to do, little extras which just add to it, including as much of her clothing as I can to the quilt. So yep, watch what's coming up next. Here we are. This is I've put all the squares together now. You know I've not got a lot of room to work here, so I can't lay it out on a big table or anything. So that's all of the squares together. A bit of cotton there. Now I'm starting to add to it, and the first thing I decided to do, something I wanted to put right in the middle, was this tiny little vest which has got a little rah-rah skirt attached to it. And I think she probably had leggings or something to go underneath, so it's like a vest with a little skirt on attached. So I've pinned that in place, and what I want to do is get all the bits and pieces that I'm going to add and pin them in place, and then they'll be machined on. So let's find out what pieces I've got. Obviously you can't see me now, but I'm trying to show you the quilt. As I said, I've not got an awful lot of room, but hopefully you'll get the idea of what I'm doing. So that's going to be the centre, and then I've got a bag here of goodies. Quite a few things to add to it. So let's start from the top. I know that that's the centre, I can work around it. Okay, so we've got, this was like one of the little wrist gathers of one of the dresses. I don't know, maybe I could do it like that, so it covers up like a join that I had to do, because I had to include some side seams in some of the clothes, otherwise I wouldn't get enough fabric to cover it. So I think I'll put that on there. Pin that in place. Doesn't matter whether the colours match or not really, because it's just all needs to be brightly coloured. And the idea is that if you've got all these little extra bits on here, when she's laying with on the sofa with her blanket, she's got little bits and pieces to fiddle with. Now this is another thing from the same dress, but it's a longer piece. Where shall I put that? Not quite sure. I'll leave that to one side for a minute. Now we've got a white frill from another dress, and I think it could have been round the neck, that piece there. I think let's do it across two like that. Once I've got all these on, and I'm going to put some wadding or a blanket behind them, I'm going to then stitch down all the seams. I mean, some of these haven't lined up as well as I wanted to, but that's the downside of working with stretchy fabric, and that one is not squared off, but most of them have lined up so that they are straight. It all come together quite quick in the end. It took me a while to cut these squares out, and I've made them 12 centimetres by 15 centimetres, and when I ironed them afterwards, I realised that some of them, because they had creases in them, ended up being a bit bigger, so I then had to recut some of them just to make sure they were the right size. But some, for some reason, still ended up slightly wrong. But I'm working with so many different fabrics, and like this one isn't really stretchy, the little tartan that one is not very stretchy, but the rest of them. Oh, this one we've got that came off of this same outfit. That's a little bit stretchy, but not too much. So that will go somewhere about there. What I've done is this has all been assembled and put together using my serger, and then I serged around all the outside to neaten it up as well. So all around here, as you can see, all around the outside is serged all the seams are serged together. I quite enjoyed it actually. A bit back-breaking, but I enjoyed getting to that point. I think once I get these pinned on, it's going to take a little while actually to get them under the machine, because there's going to be bits everywhere, so it'll be quite a drawn out thing. I tried so hard as well to mix up the patterns and keep them so miles apart from each other, and so every time I put one together I tried to make sure there wasn't two the same next to each other, and then afterwards realised like that one, they're the same, and they're quite close, and then that it was impossible. I thought I can't keep unpicking it. Right, let's go. So how to stitch that? I'd have to go along. I think the best thing to do is really like do a stitch in the ditch and go right along that edge to fix that one. I'm going to have to speed this up for you because it's obviously going to take me a while to do this, and then you'll see what I've got done at the end. I'll say this will all stand up and be there to fiddle about with. This is another one I managed to cut out. It's off the front of I think it must have been a baby grow or a dress or something, so I've got to find somewhere fairly plain for that to stand out a little bit. I think that might do just there. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to see everything I'm doing, but I'll show you as much as I can. I missed last weekend because we'd gone out for a meal for my birthday, which was on Tuesday, but it's the only time we could really get the restaurant, because in the countryside in France a lot of the restaurants are shut in the week, so we had to go at the weekend. And needless to say, we had quite a few drinks and we had a very late night, and I really did not feel like doing a lot of filming, so I missed last week, sorry. Most of you probably won't even have noticed. So another one there is quite sweet. There. Some of these little bits and pieces have got stains on them still, but that's all part of Remy's babyhood, isn't it? So it's quite nice in a way. So there's so much to look at. This is a tiny piece with just what was a press stud, and it's got a bow on it. So I'll find a little square for that one. It's quite good to put them in the joins, especially, like I say, some of them didn't join up where I wanted them to, and that's a good cover up. Shh, don't tell anybody. Oh, is this a bee? Over here, I think. I think her twin sisters are going to be very excited when she gets this, because they've had theirs now for about 4 years, 7 now, and they still keep them on their beds. Ah, but this one's a pretty one. If you may remember, if you've been watching, this one just says flower altogether, so I'm going to find somewhere to look down the bottom. Maybe there, or is there too many? Maybe there's too many flowers there. Yeah, there's flowers everywhere. I can't avoid it, so we're going to put it here. That's the FLO, and then we've got the WER, and we've got another flower that goes with that somewhere, so that one can go on the end. I'll do a couple more, and then I'll probably turn the camera off and come back to you and show you what I've done, because it's going to take me a while. Now this was one of her little feet from a baby grow. I'm not quite sure. What I might do is just stitch across the top, and then it's sort of flappy. I'm very tired now, so I'm going to have to go and have a rest. and I'll probably either do it later or another day and carry on filming for you and show you then. See you in a bit.